Now we're going to talk about supply and demand. This video is going to be on the longer end because there's a lot of moving parts. In fact, there's H parts. So pause the video if you need to read that top part there. I'm assuming that you paused it because I'm just going to talk some more. So determine the price when the 100 tablets are demanded. Don't mind if I do, as he gets his notes ready. All right. So determine the price. This part means find P. When 100 tablets are demanded, when Q equals 100. And notice R demanded means we're looking at the demand function. So since P equals D of Q equals 405 minus 3.75 Q, well, we're going to find P by putting in 100 in for Q. Doing so, we get 405 minus 375, which is 30. So this means that when the price is $30, 100 tablets will be demanded. Now we're going to determine the price when 100 tablets are supplied. So price, determine the price when Q equals 100. But now we're looking at the supply function. So since price is S of Q is 7.5 Q, we're going to put in 100 in for the Q in the supply function, and we get $750. So in order for 100 tablets to be demanded, the price needs to be $30. But from the manufacturer's end point of view, for 100 tablets to be supplied, the price needs to be $750. They're not meeting in a nice, good spot there. We're going to have some words pretty soon. I mean, terminology, not words. We're not going to battle or anything. We could. All right. Part C. Find and interpret the intercepts of the demand function. Remember, intercepts occur when one variable equals 0. So we're going to need to do when P equals 0 and when Q equals 0. So again, we're focusing on the demand function. So if P were 0, we'd have the equation 0 equals 405 minus 3.75 Q. We would subtract 405 and divide by negative 3.75. And let's see what we get approximately for Q. We should get, or maybe it equals, I don't know if it equals exactly. We get 108. Let me write that neater. Oh, you know what? I have an undo. I did it. 108. 10% better. And now we're going to find P when Q equals 0. So we'll have P equals 405 minus 3.75 times 0. Again, we're looking only at the demand function in part C here. And we get P to be 405, technically dollars. All right, let's interpret. Rewind if you have to, because I'm too lazy to write this out on the screen. Me equal, you know what? I'm not even going to finish that word. That's how lazy I am. P equals 0, Q equals 108. That means when the price is $0, 108 tablets will be demanded. Again, we're talking about demand. When the price is $0, 108 tablets will be demanded. Q equals 0, P equals 405 means when the price is $405, 0 tablets will be demanded. When the price is $405, 0 tablets will be demanded. Great. We're going to do the same stuff with part D, which refers to the supply function. Let's finish out P equals 0 first. So 0 equals 7.5 Q. Again, we're only working with the supply function this time. Well, if you solve for Q, notice you get Q to be 0. So because this is a function, you can't have more than one y-intercept. So there's no sense in finding the intercepts where q equals 0, because we'll go back to where p equals 0. So what this means is when the price is $0, 0 tablets will be, finish it off, supplied. Remember, because we're talking with the supply function this time, not the demand function. So again, when the price is $0, 0 tablets will be supplied because they want to make some money. That's what they do. All right. Moving on. Boop. Find the demand when the price is $30, $3.30, and then we're going to do the same thing for supply. Excuse me. So I'm giving you values for P here. So we're going to put 30 and then 330 in for the P in the demand function. So the first one will be 30 equals 405 minus 3.75Q, because again, we're using the demand function up here, and we just replaced P with 30. Solving for P, we'll subtract 405. What is that? Negative 375, I think. And then minus equals negative 3.75Q. And then dividing both sides by negative 3.75, you get Q to be 100. All right, so let me make a list here. P equals 30, and we got Q to be 100. So remember, when price goes up, what happens to demand? Hopefully you said it goes down. So when price now goes to 330, we should expect a smaller demand. So we should expect a number less than 100. Let's check it. We'll have 330 equals 405 minus 3.75Q. We will subtract 405 from both sides. It's hard to do this in my head. I think that's negative 75. I only have the final answer here. I don't have the work. So it might not be. I'm a little concerned, but I'll leave that up to you, because you should get Q to be 20 when you're done. So notice price went up and quantity of demand, I should say, went down, which is what we should expect for the demand function. When price goes up, quantity slash demand in this case goes down. We're going to do the same thing in part F, but now we're focused on the supply function. In fact, since it's the same thing, why don't you try pausing the video and figure out the quantities when those given prices, and then restart the video and to see how you did. Boo-doo-doo, pausing the video. La la loo. All right, let's see how you did. So we're now working with supply. So 30 will now equal 7.5Q. Dividing both sides by 7.5, you get Q to be 4. So when the price is $30, 4 tablets will be demanded. And same deal, when the price is $3.30, they'll now equal 7.5Q. Dividing both sides by 7.5, you get Q to be 44. So notice when price went up for supply, what happened to the supply? It went up. So you should see that correspondence. Also, as a note, let me bust out a highlighter here. Oh, we're going orange. Oh, I said we're going orange. Notice when the price was $30, 100 tablets were demanded. But when the price was $30, only 4 tablets were supplied. When the demand is bigger than the supply, oh, that's still a highlighter. I forgot to switch to a pen. When demand is bigger than supply, that's called a shortage. Boop. I wrote short gauge. Short gauge, everyone. Shortage. That's better. And then over here, different highlighter color. When the price was $3.30, the demand was 20. And when the price was 330, the supply was 44. So here, more was supplied than demanded. So supply was bigger than demand. I'll try not to add an extra G this time. That's called a surplus. Excellent. 2 more parts. We're almost there. The next part is to graph. You're going to love it. All right. So this goes back to a previous part when we found the intercepts. So notice we'll need the point 108, 0 and 0405. Let's go back to here real quick. So as a comment, the x-axis is the quantity and the y-axis is the price. And that's my dog Marsh. He is breathing heavily to tell me it's time for lunch. It's too early for lunch. You have to go wait. Go lay down. I know. Don't give me those eyes. Go lay down. Go downstairs. Good boy. He's not going to go downstairs. So remember for we had P was 0 when Q was 108 and Q was 0. You know what? I'm just going to do one thing at a time. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to count the x-axis by tens. I'm sorry to go back and forth like this. And we'll count the y-axis by 20s. No, by 50s. Okay, so I'm going to count this by 10. I'm going to put a little 10 here. I'm going to count this by 50. That's good. So 108, okay, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 108. So the reason it's going right here is because Q is 108 when P equals 100. And then the other point was at, what was it? Do you remember? 405? I think it was 405. Yep. So if I count that by 50s, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, so 405. About right there. And now I'm going to connect those two dots. Oh my gosh, the pressure. So that would be your demand function. I'm going to say demand is in blue. I'll just write it off to the side. Okay, so now let's do the supply function. So with the supply, we have a problem because we have the ordered pair 0, 0. But that's all we got. So we need another ordered pair to make 2 points, to make a line. So we know we got this point down here. But if P equals 7.5Q, then we need a nice and pretty number to make a good point here. Let's see. If I did Q to be 20, what's 20 times 75? Okay, Google. What's 20 times 75? No, you did 20 times 85. What are you doing, Google? 20 times, oh no, 7.5. Oh, why didn't you guys correct me? That's 150. All right, that's good. So if this is 20 here, then this would be 150 there. All right, so let me connect those two dots. Get my colors. As long as it goes through, it's fine. Okay, great. And so I already labeled that as supply. Excellent. We're going to stick right here for part H, even though there's a whole nother slide for that. Because it's saying find the equilibrium point. But real quick, before we continue, let me go back to there. Let me just show you real quick. Notice here, reading from left to right, there's more. Oh, I still have my lines on. I don't want that. I just want this guy. There's more. Oh, that's the wrong color. It looks like peanut butter and jelly. There's more demand, which is blue, because it's further to the right than there is supply. So down here, this would be surplus. And then here, there's more supply than there. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's not the right word. That's surplus. This is shortage. I almost put a G there. And here on the top here, there's more supply than there is demand. That's the surplus. As far as part H is concerned, that is when supply equals demand. Boop. And that point is called the equilibrium point. Equilibrium is when supply equals demand. So we can say D of Q equals S of Q. So we would have 405 minus 3.75 Q equals 7.5 Q. If we got the Q's on one side, so if we added 3.75 to both sides, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're making me do math. All right, now hold on, I don't have this for now. Okay, 7.5 plus 3.75, that's 11.25. And then we have Q. I could have done that without a calculator. And then if we divide both sides by 11.25, okay, 405 divided by 11.25, boop, you get 36. That's a nice number. Okay? But then to find the point, you need both coordinates. So we only have Q to be 36, so now we need to find P. It's easier to put the Q back into the supply function, which I already have in a box there. So 7.5 times 36 would give you 270. So when the price is $270, 36 tablets would be demanded and supplied. So they would sell out. No surplus, no shortage. Everyone's happy. Hooray.